The league has changed. I feel it in the draft. I feel it in the waivers. I smell it in the trades. Much that once was is lost. For now none play who remember it. It began with the forging of the great teams. 2 were given to Indy, the commish, wisest and fairest of all beings. 2 from Beans, 1 to Cali, 1 of Texas Tea. And 5 teams were gifted to those of Pittsburgh, who above all else desired championships. For within these rings was bound the strength and the will to manage each team. But they were all of them deceived, for another team was made. In the land of Houston, in the fires of a barbecue, the Dark Lord Julie forged in secret a master team to control all others. And into this team she poured her lost streak, her IR, and her will to dominate all games. One team to rule them all, and Dub Street to bind them. Welcome, everybody, to a normal special edition of the Vinnie Pie Quest League podcast. I'm here with my elven lady, Amanda, to talk about this week. We are going to talk about the big trade, but we just can't fly the Eagles into that topic just yet. We got to walk our way there. So we're going to hit all the normal things. Peaks of the week, pick 6, and then we'll get into it. So, Amanda, what do your elven eyes see for the peaks of the week?
So, big week again, week 7. Our high score for week 7 goes to none other than Gregory. 178. Again? He has scored over. This is the 4th time he has scored over 175.
That's ridiculous.
So how ridiculous is it? He has a total points for of 1,045. The next highest points for is Chris at 918. Which is a net difference of 127. That's as if Gregory has played an entire one more game than everybody else.
And it's not like an Anthony game. It's like an actual good game.
It's like a good winning game. He has played it's almost as if he's played an extra game over everyone. That's what Gregory's doing right now.
You can say a lot of this is to the Jamar Chase pickup and also Cordell Patterson. Like those are just great pulls from him. When did he pull Jamar Chase? He pulled Jamar Chase.
He drafted Jamar Chase.
In 80th overall. Great risky play. Rookie quarterback or rookie wideout. Normally doesn't do great, but Jamar Chase, that is an exception. Boom.
Yeah. So that was Gregory's. So you're seeing a first round pick and a waiver pick leading him to having dominant scores.
And Matt Stafford. As the 12th round, he picked that up. We've talked about before. Crazy quarterback draw there. Amazing job, Gregory.
So, Gregory, I have said this at the beginning of the season. I say it every season. I am rooting for you. Please take home this win so that you can be the 9th new champion.
I am
also rooting for Gregory.
Also rooting for you, but for different reasons.
Our worst loss goes to Bob, who lost to Gregory by 70 points.
Yeah,
however, Bob didn't do that bad. 108. If he had played Will, or Anthony, he would have won.
That's right.
And speaking of Anthony, we told you all it was Bipocalypse. And Anthony, you didn't listen. You scored 79.6 playing Emmanuel Sanders on bye. Brandon's mad.
I am so disappointed and angry at you, Anthony, because you gifted Amanda a free victory, and you could have beat her. And instead of her being 5-2, she could have been 4-3, like the rest of the people in the middle. And This week, there's potential for Amanda to lose again. So Amanda could be, after this week, assuming Anthony didn't mess it up, she could have been 4-4.
Mm-hmm.
She could have been like looking like, oh, am I going to make playoffs? Now she's like, playoff schmayoffs. I'm looking for a championship.
Our best player goes to, a most valuable player goes to Gregory, who played Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase actually outscored every player in the league, scoring 34.1. And another big one, Brian's defense of Tampa Bay scored 20 points, which is impressive. Very impressive for a defense.
That's impressive. Tampa Bay's got a great run defense, so for them just to stack onto that, that's great stuff.
The worst players go to Anthony, who scored, or Anthony and Jenna. Anthony's played A. Dillon, who got negative 0.2, a running back. His previous floor was 3.6. 2 weeks ago, he scored 17.9. So nothing would have really indicated that this guy would put up negative points.
Yeah, A.J. Dillon is the backup to Aaron Jones for Green Bay. And although he's the backup, like, Green Bay babies Aaron Jones. It's so annoying because I have Aaron Jones, and I'm always like, just put him in more. But Dillon's always getting, touches. He's always getting the ball. And for him to put up negative, I guess Anthony could have just put in a bye player there and would have scored a little bit better. So maybe that's what he was thinking.
Well, he already did that.
Yeah.
Jenna played Baltimore's defense and got -5, which is, in my opinion, shocking because they were playing the Bengals. Actually, Brandon and I were in Baltimore, literally in walking distance to the stadium.
Yeah, we were leaving as people were going to the stadium at 10 in the morning.
We were leaving at 10 a.m., before 10 a.m.
It's a madhouse.
And they were going crazy. So Baltimore was pretty sad about that smack.
Yeah.
Totally didn't expect it. But I have a beef with our team this week. I did a lookup of our players. There was a lot of 0-point plays this week. Multiple. Anthony played Emmanuel Sanders on bye. Brian played K.
Juszczyk?
Yeah, that guy from San Francisco. He played him and Antonio Brown, who both put up 0.
Wait, did they put up 0 or were they on bye? Oh, no, Brown's injured right now.
Yeah. Julie played Sterling Shepard, who's also been injured, and Bob played D. Parker, all putting up 0-point games. Guys, we're still in the middle of the season.
This is a hunt. Why
everybody can win. Don't just put 0-point players. I'm disappointed in you.
Yeah, you gotta do better than that. You gotta do better. Yeah, you always have a chance to win every single matchup. You always have a chance. I don't know, maybe in week 8, Kyler Murray only puts up a few points and leaves someone really hanging on for a desperate win. Chris, sorry about that.
All right, let's talk about pick 6.
Pick 6. So let's dive into the pick 6. Okay, so we're on my account, so I'm always popping up first. It's me versus Will. I was projected under in this game, but then Aaron Jones put up 24 last night. He was only projected 15 because he's always handing things off to Dylan instead.
Mm-hmm.
What a slacker. Good for football, bad for fantasy. It's still a close matchup, though. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think I'm going to win this.
I think it's going to be Will.
I think it's...
Will is... He did have a high projection going into last week and ended up having one of the lower scores. So his team can be volatile. I just think Will's gonna beat you.
I've got the projection, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
Also,
I'm playing a backup quarterback this week, although I can't really count on Lamar anymore. He's doing good weeks and bad weeks. It's a mess. So I'm going Will. I'm so sad.
In the Gregory Brian matchup, Gregory's points projected 128 has really been not consistent with what he's actually scored.
No, yeah, he's going to score more than that.
I'm on the Gregory train. Gregory, you're winning.
He's going to score more than that. Although, look, James Conner outside of Steelers, he's as good. We get into Julie and Uncle Chris. This is, wow. And you get, this was close. Chris probably had a little bit of advantage before last night. We're filming this on a Friday.
Kyler Murray putting up 9 points.
What is that? 9 points on Kyler?
Totally unexpected.
And it also hurts, too. Well, Prater's a kicker, right? Yeah, he's the kicker here. But Kyler Murray putting up 9, that should read 30.
Yeah.
So this difference of 20 points here, that
that's a
hurts.
bad one. And I think Chris's team might not be strong enough to come back after Kyler does so bad. I have no idea what to think about Jolie's new team. So I'm going to vote Chris. Just because I don't know enough about Jolie's refab team.
I am going to actually vote Julie here. Just Kyler did so bad. But she is playing Bridgewater as a backup quarterback because she doesn't have Aaron Rodgers anymore. But I'm still going to pick her. We get down to Uncle Rob and you.
I voted last week that I was going to lose to Rob. And after the shenanigans that went down, I'm going to continue my vote of lack of confidence.
I think that Uncle Rob has been gifted enough players that even though there's like a, 15-point differential right here?
Yeah.
I think he's still going to make this up. I think Uncle Rob is going to win this week. I think he's going to go 5-3. I think he's got the opportunity there for his players to do it.
Which is so disappointing because that means Rob and I will have the same record if this happens. Rob beat me last year. Rob beat Brandon.
Week 1, a little different than in week 8.
Yeah, don't.
It's different.
You're not doing that good.
I'm not doing great. I'm not doing great. But yeah, we'll talk about that. We get into Sherry and Nick. Nick at the moment, this all comes down to, once again, we're recording this on Friday. Currently, Nick has Dak Prescott in as his quarterback. Dak is listed as questionable.
I mean, there's a lot of time to change. It's only Friday.
Which, that right there pretty much makes his projection go to 98 to 124. So this is really a 50-50 matchup. I think Nick is going to do it, but I will be super happy if Sherry and Stu pull this out because,
I'm voting Sherry.
I think Nick's still going to take it. And then down here, we've got Anthony versus Jenna. There's a 30-point differential on the board. This is going to be Jenna all the way. Yeah.
I mean, we vote Jenna like every week. We think highly of her, but she's been losing a lot.
Yes, but when she has lost, it's been against teams that could put up big numbers. Like, my team hasn't been playing great, but they have the potential to swing for the fences like they did when I beat her. Gregory swang for the fences when he beat her. Chris ended up getting a great week. So Anthony has not put up a giant week yet. He's put up numbers right around that 100-something. I don't think it's going to be enough to defeat her.
All right.
But if he does, though, I will rejoice.
But then Anthony and Jenna would have the same record.
Same record, yeah. So this is the thing, like, Jenna's like basically fighting for her life right now. Anthony is fighting for life. Everybody's 2-5. Anthony, Sherry, Stu, Julie, they're all fighting for their life. But if Anthony like pulls this upset this week, oh boy, like he's not out of it, and he could in theory crush Jenna. Like Jenna could be removed from playoffs this week. So could I.
Who do you think's what do you think is the game to watch?
Game to watch this week?
I think it's got to be me and Rob.
There's something to be said about the you and Rob matchup. I actually think that there are some other ones that are more interesting. There are currently 5 teams that are 4-3 right now. And with you and Gregory being in the number 1 spot, 1-2, only 4 of those 4-3 teams can make it into playoffs at the moment. So I think actually a Gregory-Brian matchup's very important. Because if Brian loses this, he goes 4-4. If Chris loses this, like it's projected, he's 4-4. Depending on what happens with William here, he could go 4-4, and I could go 4-4. And then if Sherry upsets Nick, Nick's gone 4-4. Like, you could at the end of this, right now there's 5 4-4 teams. After this week, there's a possibility of there being 7 4-4 teams. So it's crazy.
Is it time, Brandon?
It is time. It is time to go into the Fanghorn Forest and see just what this mess is of a trade. Okay, so first, let's go into our recent activity here and just check out this trade that happened.
Also, this Gregory took a beautiful screenshot of this image with 3 emojis. Like,
What?
I probably one of the most active chats we've ever had. So that was, living for that.
The future of the league is at stake.
Oh.
Well, yeah, maybe not. Maybe I'm a little dramatic.
He's real dramatic about this.
I got to bring the viewers in. So this is it on paper, right? In order for this trade to even go down, Uncle Rob had to do the unthinkable for him. He first had to drop Big Ben. Okay? So right there, that tells you something about how good of a trade this was for Uncle Rob. For him to drop Big Ben, this trade had to be super for him. So here's how it fanned out. Uncle Rob gets rid of Big Ben, and then he gets rid of Harrison Butker, who's a kicker. So we're not even going to count kickers here. Who cares? But Uncle Rob gets rid of the Cowboys, Derek Carr, who we know has got to be one of the worst quarterbacks to ever exist. And Brian would agree with me on this.
I think Daniel Jones is worse, but whatever.
He gets rid of... So Cowboys, whatever, middling defense. Defense is all about matchup. Derek Carr, a bunch of nobody. Marquise Hollywood-Brown. That's actually a big trade move right there. That's a good wideout. And then Mark Ingram. Okay, Houston running back, nothing fancy there. Houston, anything this year is garbage. So basically, here's nothing, and here's one wideout. Here's who he gets off of Julie in return. Gronk, who with Brady this year has been great. Yes, he's been injured, as Gronk will do, but gets Gronk. Aaron Rodgers, a little bit better than Big Ben. And by a little, I mean like, I don't know, Mount Everest is a pretty little mountain. Stephon Diggs.
One of the best wide receivers
One of
in the whole
best
league.
wideouts in the league. Like, stats don't show it this year, but he started a little late, had a few injuries. Like, Stephon Diggs is a top wideout with Josh Allen thrown to him. Amazing. Khalil Herbert, one of the backup running backs for Chicago, but the current running back, who I have, it was out on COVID, and Khalil came in and did great, and they're not going to stop playing him. And then here's some kicker who we don't care about. Then the Bills defense, who are one of the top defenses in the league.
Okay, so I don't think we need to, in my opinion, the top three are the ones that are worth talking about. The bottom three are just part of the deal.
To give you an idea what this looks like a little bit more, if you've never used this, there is a fantasy fair football trade thing. You just Google it, and you put in the people. I didn't put in the kickers here,
Oh my gosh.
but this is what we're looking at here, okay?
I mean, it's not like a 90-10.
But yeah, because I don't think you can get that unless there wasn't anything over here. Basically, Derek Carr is a worse pickup than Aaron Rodgers. The Cowboys are a worse pickup than the Bills. Marquise Hollywood-Brown, great wideout this year. Worse than Stephon Diggs. And while Khalil Herbert's ranked low, like, he is Chicago's current running back right now, and they're going to use him because they have no faith in Justin Fields. And Mark Ingram is not worth even a Gronk. When you add it to Khalil Herbert, this is a no-brainer, okay? And remember who offered this trade. This was Julie to Rob. Furthermore, maybe you're like, and this man is laughing here because we've talked about this. Maybe you're like, well, maybe Julie like didn't have any faith in Aaron Rodgers, or she wanted to get rid of him because she's running the Tanyan tight end stack and she needed to diversify. Okay, that's a great idea. But if Julie doesn't win this week, she has 6 losses and she's out of the playoffs. 2 of the players she gets, Marquise Hollywood-Brown, Derek Carr, they're on bye this week. They don't even help her. They don't help her at all. So this is basically saying she got rid of the Bills for the Cowboys, and she got rid of
Brandon, just cut
everything
to the chase.
else.
What are you insinuating?
I am insinuating that this wasn't a trade, but this was a gift. A gift to use against Rob's enemies. But we know how this pans out. The gift will betray him.
So first of all, one, you're assuming a lot of malice coming out of Julie. And you know, she could have...
And anger.
You're assuming a lot of this. You know, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. She could have very much expected that there was some to be gained from this trade.
Maybe.
Also, I'll be honest.
I would like to know what that is. What is she expecting
I
here?
am living for this chaos. First of all, our team and our league has been historically trade adverse. Maybe she's just trying to, you know, make up for it in one big explosion of trade.
Maybe. Maybe. One big explosion of trade.
Maybe, you know, she just really wanted it to be more interesting and to get some more great views on our wonderful podcast. Maybe she was mad that we trash talked her too much, and so this was her retaliation.
Anthony's never made a trade like this. And good for him. Standing by his principles.
And then it created such a wonderful chat in our thing. I'm living for the chaos. Loving it.
On the other side, there's if you have not, for whatever reason, seen the family text message chain, like, what are you doing, William? Get in on that. One of the fears I have for this is, let's say I get eliminated from playoff runs. Do I just trade everything away to Gregory to ensure he wins? Maybe he'll have a better chance of winning, but that's got to feel like a poor victory then. And I think it just undermines some of the greatness that we've had in our league. And we've talked about this before whenever my mom, Can't Use Tech Cookie, was in the league. You know, she always wanted to give away her great players, especially to Nick and Will. And we were like, no, you can't take those. Like, that's a straight up cheat. You just can't have, 2 teams to funnel things around to. So yeah, I'm like, yeah, trades are happening. I'm kind of disappointed in this one. Ruining the integrity, in my opinion, of some of the league.
These are some fighting words.
These are fighting words.
I don't know if we need to go that far.
And well, she already beat me this year, so I can't even say that. But maybe in week 11, when Julie faces Rob, this trade will be worth it, and she knocks him out of the playoff contention.
I do like the idea of R asterisk B. If Rob does win, Brandon and I, as controllers of the trophy, will immortalize it as that way.
Yeah. And this also brings up an interesting topic, and we haven't talked about this because it's kind of hidden, but if you're on the ESPN Fantasy Football app on your phone and you go into League and you go into like League Messages and you click a tab, there's a League Manager poll there. And one of the things that was briefly brought up was, do you want this to switch to a Dynasty League? And up until yesterday at 2:56 p.m., I had voted on that and I said no. No Dynasty League. I like the redraft where every year we get new teams. But a trade like this, maybe a trade like this wouldn't happen in a Dynasty League. Because maybe you want to keep someone like Stephon Diggs because he's one of the greatest wideouts. I
just don't see how how a Dynasty League would change this potential.
Well, a Dynasty League would give the opportunity where maybe Julie makes this trade, right? Maybe this is one-sided for Rob. But Rob could also give up in a Dynasty League draft picks. So while Julie is selling the farm, she's getting ready to buy it back for next year. She's saying, like, I don't have a chance. I got IR'd this entire season. Like, there's nothing I could do. Remember, ESPN projected her as being the number 1 this year, right? So, like, she had a great team. And she did get hit. She is the fellowship of the IR now. There's nothing she could do there. So if you're hit like that, maybe you trade some of the last remnants you have, but you pick up draft positions for next year. Right? Like, that's possible in a Dynasty League, where we don't really have that option in our redraft league just because of how they're set up. So maybe a Dynasty League is something to think about, but we'll see how this pans out with the Julie Rob trade gift.
Living for it.
Loving every minute of it. I still want to see will Julie in week 11, when I predict Rob will be 5-5, will she pull out a mega team and defeat Rob and toss him into the fires of Mordor?
I thought you said Julie was the one that would need to be tossed.
Oh, I don't know. It could be a redemption arc. She could have a redemption arc
here.
You
need to keep your mystical stories straight.
Look, it's a very complex
Clearly
book.
called her the bad guy in the beginning sequence.
Sometimes
now Rob needs to get tossed in.
She can rewrite.
It's not how Lord of the Rings goes. I've seen it.
She can rewrite her story. This isn't Lord of the Rings. This is the Vinnie Pie Quest League, where bad guys become good guys and good guys become bad guys. And no matter what, I will be defeated by you.
Yeah, and we can root for Gregory.
I'm rooting for Will. I'm rooting for Will still. I want to see Will make a deep playoff run.
Until Will starts making hilarious messages in the group chat, all votes for Gregory.
Good point. But it is something to keep in mind. If you haven't talked about the Dynasty League or anything like that, start thinking about it. If you're no, yes, maybe, it's a talk we need to have as a league and as a family. And one other thing to think about, while we are not in playoffs yet, there is a big change this year with playoffs.
Coming.
Instead of playoffs being a single week and then you move on to the next round, they are double weeks, which means playoffs are 6 weeks long.
And it also means you get to deal with our fantasy football podcast
even more
for so long.
Yeah, for so much longer. It is something to think about after this year is done and once we get through playoffs. See how that playoff experience goes. Take some mental notes on what you think about it. It might be something that we like. It might be something that we don't like. It might be something that we need to mix up the league and do something else with. I don't know. But like I said, the league is changing. So I think that's all we had for this week. Is there anything else?
We covered a lot of content.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's it, everybody. Stay safe out there. And enjoy second breakfast. Bye bye. And 11 Z's.